Hey, man, check it out, man. Look, today I'll be right to Sniped in Scarborough, Clinton, Mr.Big, Woo, Y'all Food, man. Look, bro. Wait, before I even do that shit, bro, I've been listening to that Drake, over the top nigga on repeat, nigga. I've been listening to the Drake only verse, cause that nigga Smiley, I don't know what the fuck that nigga on. But I've been listening to that shit on repeat, bro. I'm telling you, bro. That damn verse, bro. That shit straight fire. But anyway, man. Sniped in Scarborough. Clinton, Mr.Big, Y'all Food, bro. This sound like a nigga that sell big drugs. This nigga like big kingpinning, goddamn. Nigga moving hella weight around the country, goddamn. A nigga with the name Big Y'all Food just sound like a drug dealer kingpin nigga. We finna find out who he is. But look, before I even click this play button, man, make sure you follow me on the ground, man. Tankhead, I'm gonna start saying my goddamn name so y'all can go fucking follow me, man. For real, bro. Follow me. You need to run those follows up. But anyway, my name is Tankhead_Fred, man. You know what I'm saying? Make sure you follow me, bro. I'm finna get into this video.
Clinton Yao Fu had connections to organized crime and the drug trade. He was shot outside his family's home near Kingston Road in Ellesmere.
It was made at a considerable distance. It was made at night in the dark. It was windy, and Clinton was on the move when he was shot.
Police were able to recover this sniper rifle. They say the Browning BLR has a Bushnell scope. It says it has connections to the Montreal area. Detectives are using the hashtag #CatchTheSniper.
He would know his area. He would know what his range would be, what his kill zone would be, unfortunately.
A paid killer, right? Is that who you think killed this person?
Just after midnight on October 1st, 2015, a car pulled into the driveway of a house in a quiet Scarborough neighborhood near Kingston and Ellesmere Road. A 37-year-old man named Clinton Yao Fu was arriving to his parents' home, and he was in the middle of a phone call. He got out of his car and walked up the driveway as he continued his conversation, unknowingly taking the last few steps of his life. From a distance of over 200 yards, a lone gunman was lurking in the shadows, armed with a high-powered hunting rifle equipped with a...
No, they been there all day. Cause you, bro, come on, bro. If you scope a nigga, you gotta be there for like hours and hours waiting on this nigga, bro. For real, bro. For real.
Scope, and their target was Clinton. Now, there are two theories as to where the suspect was located. One is that they climbed up a nearby cell phone tower, and the other is that they were lying prone on top of a concrete shed in a fenced-off enclosure. We'll get more into the smaller details later in the video, but regardless of where the sniper made their nest, it was Clinton who was in the crosshairs. Before he could reach his front porch, the gunman fired a single shot that would prove to be fatal. Clinton was hit and collapsed on the driveway, where he then laid for over 2 hours before being found by a close friend who immediately called 911. Once emergency crews arrived, first aid was administered.
Didn't they say he went to his parents' house? Like, didn't they, nigga, like, oh, damn. Didn't nobody come help this nigga? They let this nigga bleed out for 2 hours? Tough!
Sadly, Clinton didn't make it.
Bleed out for 2 hours?
It was on this driveway across the street from me where a 37-year-old man was gunned down back in a...
By the time it was morning, the shooter was long gone, and the scene was barricaded as media outlets swarmed the area, and the police began their investigation. It didn't take long to realize that Clinton was struck with a rifle bullet, which came from considerably far away. Police officers, canine units, and drones searched the area for potential evidence, and they were able to...
About them drones, my nigga. Bro, I've been seeing them drones a lot, bro. I was outside in my yard, nigga. I got a big-ass yard, bro. Like, bro, I was outside, nigga. We were throwing the football. I was throwing the football with one of my nephews, bro. I seen a drone, bro. I don't know. Don't nobody on this street has a drone, so... Like, I know it. It has to be FBI. Like, them niggas, it has to be FBI. I knew... You know what I'm saying? The way it was looking at me, bro. Then that bitch got close as fuck right here, nigga. Bro, I wanted to slap that damn thing. But I wanted to, but I didn't, though. But, like, that bitch, bro, I think the FBI was looking at my dumb ass like, Nigga, I don't got no drugs on me. Like, I don't know why the fuck they looking at me, though. Like, what the fuck? Like, niggas got close as hell to me for no reason, bro. I swear to God, bro. I was outside just throwing the football around. Them niggas goddamn targeting my shit, bro. Like, why the fuck you looking at me? Go somewhere else. Ain't nothing on this neighborhood. Ain't nobody got no drugs. Ain't nobody killed nobody, man. Y'all need to go on, man.
To recover the weapon used in the shooting. It was a Browning BLR lever-action rifle fitted with a Bushnell scope and a mounted bipod, and it shoots 300 caliber Winchester Magnum rounds. This weapon is generally used for hunting, and these types of bullets are meant to take down big game, like moose, deers, and bears, not humans. The police believe the person responsible was a trained shooter, as they described the conditions that night as being...
Come on, bro. Let's, you know what I'm saying? Let's take this all into... Y'all, bro, come on, bro. This got to be the police work. Ain't no fucking way. The government had to do this. Because ain't no regular person that good. You know what I'm saying? Only niggas that know how to do that sniping shit is trained ex-military niggas, bro. Come on, bro. Y'all gotta read this. Like me, nigga, I be reading into this shit, bro. Who got all the guns in the fucking world? The government. Who got guns like that? The fucking government. This was a job by the government. They tracked this nigga down. The government knew all his plans, where he was gonna be that day. They tapped into his phones. Come on, bro. Ain't no regular dude just sniping niggas, bro. Y'all might say this was a hit by another drug dealer, like taking out the competition. No, it was a set up by the government, by the police. That's why didn't nobody help him. He stayed out there for 2 hours, laying out there dead. You know what I mean? Then the police want to show up 2 hours later. Come on, man. Everybody know this shit a fucking government setup. They killed that man, bro. The government killed this nigga, man.
Being dark and windy, and also mentioned that Clinton was on the move when he was hit, making for a difficult shot. On top of that, the rifle scope was sighted and calibrated beforehand, which requires certain knowledge or experience in shooting. But some internet users have disagreed with the police, claiming that an amateur marksman would be able to pull off the same shot, since the distance was nothing extraordinary, and the high-definition scope and bipod made it easier to be accurate. Despite varying opinions from gun enthusiasts to hunters, everyone seemed to agree that seeing a bipod mounted to a lever-action rifle was unusual. Whether or not the murder was the work of some skilled hitman, or just an average Joe with a powerful gun, it raises the question as to how someone would become a target in the first place. Well, it turns out that Clinton had a rap sheet, and he was involved in organized crime throughout Ontario and beyond, so the shooting most definitely wasn't a random act. In this video, we'll go over his multiple run-ins with the law, stemming from a major drug investigation. This is the story of Clinton Mr.Big Yao Fu, a man who used dirty money to fund a luxurious lifestyle, eventually meeting a demise at the hands of an apparent hitman, wielding a weapon that has a history. So to start, let's go back in time over a decade ago, to the spring of 2009, on the streets of Whitby, Ontario. And not just this town, but also others in the Durham region, the police were seeing a significant increase in drug trafficking across the board. The growing problem was getting so bad that an official project...
Toronto, other than weed, what y'all niggas out there in Canada, other than weed, I know everybody's smoking the gas. You know what I mean? What's y'all other drug of choice? You know what I'm saying? Some niggas down here, we pop perks. You know what I'm saying? Some people, like down here in the South, we love to pop perks. And sometimes we'll pop the Xanaxes. What else? Niggas down here like to do, the white niggas like to do cocaine. I ain't, you know what I'm saying? My skin color people, we really don't fuck with that cocaine, but some of them niggas fuck with the coke. We fuck with the what else we fuck with? We fuck with the perks. Sometimes we fuck with them bars. Some niggas do PCP. I don't do that fuck. I don't do that shit. But some niggas in the South do that shit down here. That PCP shit. What y'all niggas like to do other than weed? Of course, weed. Nigga, that's not even a fucking drug. But like, what drug y'all niggas like to do?
Project was launched by local authorities, dubbed Project ISIS. Being led by the Drug and Gang Enforcement Unit, the project was aimed at a specific circle of suspects, who were believed to be the suppliers flooding the Durham streets with various drugs. A handful of undercover officers were assigned the task of infiltrating the operation, and it all began with a gram of coke. That's what an agent bought from a 33-year-old Whippy street dealer named Michael Patrick, and it's how the police essentially got their foot in the door. From there, the narcs started gradually upping their orders, and deals for a couple of grams soon became ounces at a time. The agents then went up the food chain by getting low-level dealers to introduce their connections, and from there they followed the drugs and money to the top through monitoring and surveillance. As the investigation progressed, it expanded into the GTA, and the police were quickly able to figure out who the key players of the operation were. Within a few short months, there were 12 persons of interest who were spread across Ontario, dealing out of cities including Ajax, Bowmanville, Oshawa, and more. At this point, police forces from York, Peel, Toronto, as well as the OPP became involved in the project. The authorities then started to focus their efforts on the dozen suspects. As the weeks went by, one of the detectives in the case, Cyril Gillis, became familiar with the members' lifestyles, which can be summarized in the statement he made to CTV News.
These guys were living the high life for the most part. They had no jobs. They attended the casino, dropped large amounts of money at the casino.
That's another thing where y'all dope boys fuck up with, bro. I'll never forget the quote that what that nigga name I watched the movie, bro. That black dude that was damn, he played Denzel Washington played this nigga, bro. Fuck, what that nigga name, bro? But no, it was a black dude in the 60s. He was a big kingpin, and his number one rule was don't look rich. Don't coming out loud with big nice suits. He always said, stay low key. Don't spend big money in the casino clubs or none of that, my nigga. Stay low key. If you in the drug game, you always stay low key. When you spend, you can't be, you know what I'm saying? They gonna you dropping all this money in the bank. And, no, I'm not in the bank, but like you spending all this money in the casino, like they gonna get suspicious. Like, who is this? Is you some type of, you know what I mean? They gonna be like, what the fuck? How this nigga get all this money? Where the fuck he at? Is he a business owner? You know what I mean? Like, you don't work no type of job. You don't got a job. You don't got no business, so them niggas gon' get suspicious. Like, come on, bro. You can't be spending that type of money in the casino.
They dealt drugs during the day and night, and they went out to bars whenever they had the time in between drug trafficking.
The crew was peddling weed, coke, and almost everything in between, so there was surely enough money to go around. Investigators watched as the group made drug deals, spent hours in bars, high-end nightclubs, and massage parlors, and blew their profits at casinos. Gathering evidence for a case requires patience, and the police were waiting for the right time to strike. As they dug deeper, they were able to single out one of the highest-ranking members in the ring's hierarchy. That person was Clinton Yao Fu, but at the time, the police had virtually no information on him, besides the alias Mr.Big. All they knew is that he was one of the 4 top members in the ring, which understandably made him a prime target for arrest. The 3 other men were Con Mack, Jimmy No, and Brian Shin, and they were of equal interest to the police since they had connections to Asian crime cells all over Ontario. The men began to have their every move carefully watched, and Con Mack was the first to have his address traced. In June of 2009, the police tailed Con to a stash house in Richmond Hill, which was located at 9017 Leslie Street. They saw him enter the high-rise building with a large black bag before he came out empty-handed 10 minutes later. Con was then followed to Tip Top Lofts, a condo building in Toronto on Lakeshore Boulevard, which was discovered to be where he lived. He went inside and didn't come back out, so the police left, but they would soon be back. About a month later, on the night of July 8th, 2 undercover officers entered the parking garage of Con's building and located his car, a white Infiniti SUV. One of the officers slid underneath the vehicle, looking to install a tracking device, but they were stopped when Con suddenly approached. The narcs made up an excuse about how they were just searching for their keys before jumping into a getaway car and speeding off. Con was spooked from the encounter, and he now had a hunch that the police were on his trail. He called Brian Shin in a panic, wondering who else besides the cops would be looking under his car. Brian told Con that
as a drug, you know what I'm saying, as a drug trafficker, bro, they could mean 2 things. Niggas putting shit under your car. It could mean like that. It could mean a wiretap, you know what I'm saying, a tracking device, or either it could be a fucking explosion. Cause niggas want to kill you. Some niggas want to take you out because you're competition. It could be either one of the two, an explosion or a wiretap.
Was quote unquote.
Y'all gotta be mindful who y'all sell to, cause them niggas, you know what I'm saying? Them niggas got all type of wires on them, nigga. They be having heli wires.
And advised them to lay low for a while. That while
and in your circle, you got niggas that's already cooperating with the cops. You know what I'm saying? They already cut a deal with the police, so you gotta watch with niggas in your circle too. If that nigga moving ain't the same way, he ain't moving like he been moving, bro. If he moving different, you gotta cut that nigga. He fucking with the cops, or either blow his fucking brains out. One of the two.
Ended up being just 2 weeks, because that's when Khan met up with Clinton and Jimmy, and the trio went to Fallsview Casino in Niagara Falls and spent nearly 20 grand on games of blackjack. By then, it was just a matter of time before the investigators finally made their move. By August 6th, Durham police got the green light to execute a search warrant on the Richmond Hill stash house. They forced their way into the penthouse suite, which was barely furnished, but no one was inside at the time. With an empty fridge and a TV that had no service, it was clear that it wasn't anyone's actual home. They searched around the unit, and inside the closet of a bedroom, they hit the jackpot. They found 3 kilos of coke, 7 kilos of weed, 81 grams of crack, and over $235,000 in cash. And as luck would have it, while the raid was happening, Brian entered the stash house to make a pickup, only to walk in the door and be greeted by police. Along with being surprised, he was tackled to the ground, handcuffed, and arrested. His vehicle was later searched, where there was nearly 100 grand worth of weed discovered sitting in 2 bags.
They cracking y'all boys down, man.
It was a big haul for the cops, but they weren't finished yet, and they kept the pace going. Later that same night, both Jimmy and Khan were tracked to their homes and arrested, where police found additional drugs and paraphernalia, over 250 grand in cash, and debt lists of clientele who owed money. 3 of the top guys were in custody, and the project was moving along, but the cops still didn't have the biggest piece of the puzzle, which was Clinton. With the others behind bars, they narrowed their investigation and tried to hunt him down, but it proved to be difficult. Clinton was referred to as being a ghost, and the police described him as being smart and elusive. He had no official address, never operated any vehicles that were in his name, and made sure to be nearly untraceable on the books. Although he was bringing in hundreds of thousands of dollars in profit, he was an inconspicuous spender who wasn't overly flashy as to not attract any unwanted attention.
What the fuck did I say? What the fuck did I say earlier? Don't be flashy. Once you're a drug dealer, you cannot be flashy. You know what I mean? You can't, you know what I'm saying? You can't have none of that shit. You gonna stick out, bro. If you have all that shit, niggas gonna know. You gonna stick out from the crowd, nigga. Them boys gonna take you down, man. Cannot be.
But the authorities were just as motivated to catch Clinton as he was to evade them. On August 8th, just a couple of days after their last raid, the police cruised by a residence that was supposedly linked to Clinton, a townhouse on Mendota Street in South Etobicoke. They saw a vehicle parked out front and decided to wait around nearby to see if anyone exits or enters the house. About an hour later, Clinton came out holding 2 duffel bags, at which point he was confronted by the officers. There was a brief struggle as they tried to arrest Clinton, but somehow he managed to escape on foot.
Damn, he escaped.
The officers looked in the duffel bags and found plastic wrappers and digital scales. Afterwards, they searched the car that was in front of the townhouse and found 25 grand in cash and 6 BlackBerry cell phones. They then entered the townhouse.
How did he get away from 2 police, bro? What the fuck? Did he put some goddamn on their ass, boy? Hit their ass with the boy, I feel like that's what he did to their ass. He hit him with that cause ain't no fucking way he got away from 2 goddamn police. Tough.
Which looked to be another stash spot, because just like the one on Leslie Street, it was also virtually empty. The police searched the home and made their way to a locked closet in the master bedroom, which they busted open to find nearly $1 million worth of drugs inside.
Damn.
Along with that, investigators came across 2 loaded handguns, over 250 rounds of ammo, and ski masks.
Damn.
There was also expensive jewelry seized, including 3 Rolex watches, one worth $48,000. It was remarkable that Clinton was able to get away, but just weeks later, he would cross paths with the law once again. He was driving down the Don Valley Parkway in Toronto when he was pulled over for a routine traffic stop. A speeding ticket turned into an arrest when the officer ran Clinton's name in the system and was alerted.
That's another thing where y'all niggas fuck up. Y'all be driving reckless and y'all know you a fucking criminal, bro. If you know you a criminal, bro, you gotta try to drive you gotta be like, bro, if you're a criminal and you doing shit, bro, you gotta try to live under the law, like, a little bit, as much as possible. You know what I'm saying? Especially on the road. Like, if you driving reckless and you know you a fucking criminal, bro, come on, bro. You can't be doing that. You gotta drive. Yeah, man, you gotta drive better than anybody on the road, nigga. You gotta be goddamn driving too goddamn good. Like, you do not want them police to know who the fuck you is, because once they stop you, it's over with, bro.
That he had an active warrant. He was apprehended and later charged with possession of drugs for the purpose of trafficking, as well as 7 firearms-related offenses. In the weeks that followed, the remaining members of the drug ring were captured one by one, until the police had every person of interest in custody.
In 2009, he was arrested as part of a massive drug bust in which more than $3 million worth of drugs, cash, and stolen property were seized. Yao Fu was hit with several charges after police found guns.
Why are you crying, Kana?
By the end of the 3-month-long investigation, 12 people were behind bars, facing a combined 90 charges. Along with the arrests, more drugs were seized, as well as 11 vehicles, most of them being luxury cars, like BMW, Mercedes, and Infiniti. There were also 3 properties seized. 2 were houses in Whitby, and 1 was a condo in Toronto. The perps were in jail, and the legwork of the case was done. Now it was up to the court to do the rest. A couple of years later, in November of 2011, the accused suspects made an appearance before a judge. Most of those arrested in Project ISIS pled guilty to mainly drug trafficking charges, including Michael Patrick, the Whippy dealer who sparked the investigation. He received a conditional 5-month sentence and a 10 years weapons ban.
Y'all know what the fuck I'm finna say. That nigga snitched! That nigga got fucking 5 months? Oh yeah, that boy big telling. Big telling, boy. I'm telling you what I said. Always out of one of them groups, out of them goddamn groups, it's somebody snitching out the goddamn group, man. It's always gonna be a nigga that's snitching, bro. For real. The niggas with the less years, less time, them the biggest snitches. And the niggas at the lowest point, you know what I'm saying? Like the niggas that, the low street dealers, them be the ones that, the niggas that gonna snitch, cause what the fuck they got to lose? They ain't making the big money like the dudes at the top. You know what I'm saying? They ain't got nothing to lose. The niggas at the bottom don't got shit to lose. You know what I'm saying? So if I was a nigga at the bottom, I don't snitch. I don't condone snitching. But you know what I'm saying? If I was a nigga at the bottom, I wouldn't, you know what I'm saying? I wouldn't too much care about like the, you know what I'm saying? Cause I ain't making that as much money as these niggas at the top. So shit, I give up some names, I ain't gonna lie. I might, you know what I'm saying? I might have gave up some names. Gave up a couple names because, like, nah, no, I wouldn't. I take that back. No, fuck that shit. I ain't telling. Fuck y'all niggas. Fuck y'all niggas.
Jimmy No was sentenced to 2.5 years and also landed a weapons ban.
Yeah, that nigga.
Con Mac was given 6 years, and he's prohibited from possessing weapons for a lifetime. Brian Shin received a 6-year sentence as well, along with a $575,000 fine.
Damn.
Brian has quite the criminal past, and his backstory could be a video in itself, and that's likely why the judge showed no mercy. The remainder of those charged, who are the smaller fish, haven't had their convictions listed, and a majority of their identities were never made public. But that still leaves the man of the hour, Clinton Mr.Big Yao Fu. Although he pleaded not guilty to his charges, he still found himself being sentenced to 12 years in prison, taking the fall for everything that was found at the stash house in Etobicoke. He sat behind bars with his fellow drug peddlers for a few short years before he appealed his conviction in November of 2013. Basically, Clinton's defense argued that he wasn't carrying a key to the locked closet where police found the guns and drugs, so he had no control over what was inside. It was known that Brian, Jimmy, Con, and Clinton all shared access to multiple stash houses, so that was used as leverage in the appeal, since the contents of the closet could have belonged to any one of them.
Finessing. Look at him finessing.
As far as the duffel bags that Clinton had that day, well, the scales and wrappers that were inside only contained a small amount of drug residue, and that's it. It's believed that Clinton heard about his partners getting pinched, so he made a last-ditch effort to distance himself by unloading his product in the closet. There wasn't any circumstantial evidence against him, and like a miracle, he was acquitted of all charges, and his conviction was overturned. He was set free, and the man who was said to be the kingpin of it all was the only one who made it out unscathed. The detective in the case that I mentioned earlier, Cyril Gillis, admit that the outcome of the appeal was disheartening, considering how much work he and his team had put into the investigation. Clinton was back on the streets, and after a close call with prison, he made sure to become the ghost he was once known as. Months went by as he remained under the radar, and it's not clear what he was really doing, or if he continued to sling drugs. What is certain is that in July of 2014, less than a month after getting out of prison, he traveled to St. John's, Newfoundland for a concert, but he may have been there for something more, and possibly had connections to the area. When Clinton went to St. John's, he lied to his parents and told them that he was going on a vacation overseas, which makes the trip questionable. Durham police later traveled to St. John's to investigate, and afterwards, a photo from the concert was posted on their Twitter page, in hopes that someone who was there could give a tip on who Clinton was with. But anyway, once he was released from prison, he didn't run into the authorities again until he was gunned down on his driveway, which brings us back to the shooting. So as I said, there's some speculation as to where the sniper actually was when they took the shot, since the police won't confirm any details. Spectators who were near the crime scene said they watched as
they couldn't get his ass in, since they couldn't get him in jail, they killed his ass. Simple. They couldn't fight, you know what I'm saying? He finessed his way out of jail, you know what I'm saying? He finessed the fucking system. So he's they killed him.
Investigators climbed a cell phone tower, seemingly looking for evidence, and one man claims that there was a shell casing found on top of a shed. Since the rifle recovered had a mounted bipod, I'm assuming that the shooter used it accordingly, and therefore was probably lying prone on a flat surface. In that case, on top of the shed seems like a realistic location, and it gives a vantage point almost directly in line with Clinton's parents' house. In addition to that, there was also a portable ladder that was found near the scene, so that's what the suspect likely used to climb the shed. Alongside the ladder was a unique black pillowcase, which appeared to be what the suspect carried the rifle in. The shooting seemed to be planned and methodical, and the police don't think it was a typical criminal who was behind it. It's possible that Clinton's murder may have been committed by a contracted killer. This theory came forward after a press conference when a detective said that the rifle used had a strong connection to the Montreal area, but he wouldn't elaborate in further detail. A reporter asked if the weapon's serial number was intact or not, but the detective was reluctant to give out information.
What the fuck did I say? Look, this nigga, the detective, didn't even want to give out information. That's how you know the fucking government did that shit. Come on, man. Come on, bruh. They killed that man, bruh. The detective didn't even want to get a serial number, bruh. That's how you know there's some fishy shit going on, man. The government killed that man, bruh. The detective didn't even want to get a fucking information out, bruh.
The only other clue is the type of bullet that was fired. A .300 Winchester Magnum round, which is rare in Canadian homicides. But coincidentally, it was the same caliber bullet used in a high-profile shooting in Montreal, Quebec, 4 years earlier.
Good evening. It's a killing that's shaken Montreal's underworld. A man known as the Godfather of the city's mafia is dead.
86-year-old Nicolas Rizzuto was murdered in his Cartierville home in North End.
On November 10th, 2010, around 6 p.m., a man named Nicolas Rizzuto was having dinner with his family in his mansion on Antoine Berthelot Avenue. If his name sounds familiar, it's because he was a longtime mob boss and the founder of the notorious Rizzuto crime family, the Sicilian Mafia of Montreal. He had a reputation for being a dangerous man of power, but his status also made him a target for rivals. While Niccolo was sitting at his dining table, a gunman was making their way through a wooded area behind his house. The family dinner was violently interrupted when suddenly, a single bullet pierced the window of the back patio and hit Niccolo directly in the chest. He was rushed to the hospital, but unfortunately, the bullet punctured a heart valve and he was later pronounced dead. Niccolo's passing made headlines since he was such a prominent member of the Rizzuto crime family. The fact that he was taken out by a sniper was surprising, but the murder itself was nothing new in the world of the mafia. Although it was theorized that the shooter was possibly a hired assassin, it's not clear if it was the same person who killed Clinton. The shell casings recovered from both scenes, or maybe evidence from the autopsies may have matched up, but that's not information that the police are ready to release. All that's confirmed is that the Browning BLR had a connection to Montreal, and with just that hint, there's no telling what they meant. There are a few articles that cover the idea, but it's just speculation whether or not the homicide of Clinton Yao Fu and Niccolo Rizzuto are connected. To this day, both of the murders remain unsolved, so it's left to the imagination to wonder which person or persons were responsible. Toronto police took to Twitter and created the hashtag #CatchTheSniper in a campaign to bring the killer to justice, but it's yet to come up with any suspects. So to wrap up the video, let's address the final question that comes up. Why was Clinton killed? Well, I don't have a concrete answer, but he was running a pretty large drug empire, and maybe someone just wanted him out of the picture in hopes of taking over his operation or dismantling it to make room for their own. If it was a paid hit, especially by a killer who has taken out a mafia boss, then Clinton must have bumped heads with someone with serious connections and deep pockets. Whatever the case was, he had acquired at least one devoted enemy, and at just 37 years old, his life was cut short due to a lifestyle that eventually catches up. Fast and easy drug money can be appealing, but the risks that come with it aren't worth it in the end. Clinton managed to flip a conviction and dodge a 12-year prison sentence, but when you're on the wrong side of the streets, the law is the least of your worries. Stay safe, and thanks for watching.
Fucking video was so fucking interesting, bro. I'm so glad I found this damn video, bro. I really had a good time watching this video because I was like really engaged into this shit for real, bro. Like, I don't know how y'all niggas felt about it, bro, but I know I really liked it, bro. Shit was crazy, bro. This nigga was, this nigga's the finesse of all goddamn finesses. That nigga turned the 12-year sentence to a 3-year sentence, bro. That shit was crazy, bro, for real, man. That shit was like, bro, that nigga's a finesser, boy. What Cash Nash be saying? You can't finesser, baby. That nigga's the finesser. But at the end, bro, they found a way to get his ass. They killed him, bro. They sniped his ass, bro. Crazy, man. But look, though, if you like this type of content and you like this video, make sure you leave a like, subscribe, and don't forget to hit the bell, man. I'm out.